Hi, welcome to this lesson. So in this lesson, we are going to be looking at the math function of JavaScript, the random function, the Boolean function, functions like that. So all of these are predefined functions in JavaScript, which means that you can use these functions to do certain predefined things in your code. Okay, for example, the math function can be used to perform mathematical operations on different numbers. Obviously, as the name implies, that's what you can do. So they let you do certain things without having to write a lot of code for that to happen. For example, you can find square root, expose square, or cube of numbers, stuff like that. So there are functions for all of these things. So let's look at all of the math functions that are available. Please remember that the math function should always be written with a capital M. Okay, as you know, JavaScript is case sensitive, so always write this with a capital M. Alright, to start off, let's look at some properties. So this is, instead of a math function, you should actually call this object, because it has properties and methods or functions inside of it. Okay, so this is the math object which has properties and functions inside of it, and one of those properties is the pi property, which, as you probably guessed by now, it's the pi, the value pi. Okay, 3.14, etc, etc, etc. Remember, so that value pi is stored inside math dot pi. Like this is how you write it, math dot pi, and the value of pi is stored inside of that. So if you want to use it, you can use it in any way you want. You can say that p is equal to math dot pi, like this, and if you do a console.log of p, let's see what we get. Look at that, we are getting the entire value of pi in here, a lot of decimal digits in here. Alright, and okay, P and I are both capitals. If you give it like this, you're probably going to get, see, you're not going to get anything, because this does not have any value. Only capital PI, it's predefined, so this is the only thing that has a value. Okay, so that's the math.pi. Right, you can round off numbers like this. So you can round off numbers by using the round round method. So there's the round method in JavaScript in your math object, which can be used to round off your numbers. So if it's the decimal point is greater than 0.5, then it'll be rounded off to the highest. Okay, if the decimal point is lesser than 0.5, it'll be rounded off to the lowest, and if it is equal to 0.5, then it'll just keep it as it is. That's how it works. So let me show you how to do that. For example, if I say math.round, this is how you have to start it. Math.round, where all of these are small letters, and inside of this you have to give the number that you want to round off. We can give any number. If I give 5.7, let's see what happens. So I should just put this inside a console.log like this. If I put it inside a console.log or an alert like this, let's see what happens. Refresh. There you go. I'm getting a 6 right now, and that's because it's rounding it off. Since this is a 0.7, is rounding it off to the highest number. You can also do it like this, 7, 8. It's still going to be 6, because it's going to still round off to the highest number. So it's the decimal point. Okay, the entire decimal point is going to be rounded off. If I give 55.78, I'm going to get 56, like that. But on the other hand, if I give 5.3 or something like that, what is it going to round it off to? It's going to round it off to 5 and not 6. See, there's a 1 number difference in here. Okay, so that's very important to remember. It just does not want to keep the decimal number, so it wants integers as the result. So that's your round. Okay, and there is also the ceiling method. The ceiling method is the higher number of the decimal, like that. This is how you do it. So in order to do this, you have to say math.ceil, where everything is a small letter, and you have to give your number in here. It has to be the decimal number. if I do a console.log of math.ceil like this, inside of this, if I give 5.4 or something like that, let's see what happens. It's giving me 6. So even if it's a lower decimal number, it's still giving me a 6. That's because it's the ceiling function. If it's a higher decimal number, it's obviously going to give me the higher number 6. But even if it's 5.1, I'm going to get 6. Okay, that's how this works. But what if it's 5? It's just going to keep 5. So for the round off method or for the ceil method, all of these things, it only works on decimal numbers. Okay, only works on floating point numbers. But if you give a full number, whole number like this, it'll just return the same number. So just like ceiling, you have something called floor. It returns the lower number. Okay, the other end of it. So in order to access the floor, you have to say math.floor of num, like that, right? And if you do it like this, if you give a whole number, you're just going to get back the same number. But on the other hand, if you give something like this, 5.3, you are going to get 5. But what if it's something like 5.9? Am I still going to get 5? Yes, I'm still going to get 5. So it's going to only give me the floor of everything. Okay, so that's your floor. And then there is also the power. Okay, power function, which basically lets you calculate x to the power of y. Okay, so this is how you do it. You say math.pow, only POW, and it's all going to be in small, and inside of here you have to give first the x value and then the y value. All of these are numbers. This is a number, this is a number. So x to the power of y, that's what it's going to calculate. Okay, so let me do a console.log of an example. Math.pow. In here I can give 3, 4 like that. So 3 to the power of 4. That is, this is basically going to calculate 3 into 3 into 3 into 3. Like that. Okay. If I refresh, I'm going to get 1. See, 3 into 3 is 9, 9 into 3 is 27, 27 into 3 is 81. So I'm getting that. Okay. And that's your power function. So there's also another function called the square root function. Okay, as the name implies, it's used to calculate the square root of the number. And, well, this is how you have to write it. Math.sqrt. Okay, sqrt and everything should be small, and you have to give the number inside of it, the number that you want to find the square root of. So if I do a console.log of math.sqrt, and in here if I give 25, let's see what I get. Look at that, I'm getting 5 because square root of 25 is 5. If I give 2, what's the square root of 2? See, it's 1.414. You're getting exactly what you need. If I give 9 like this, I'm getting 3. Perfect. I want to show you the power function one more time. You can use it to calculate the square of numbers by giving 2 as the power value. Okay, square of numbers. Also the cube of numbers and things like that. Okay, so you can use it to do those things. So these are very interesting mathematical functions. Right? Let's look at one more function before we close this lesson. There's the trunc method. Okay, there is the trunc method, where you can just return the integer value given the decimal number. Okay, let me just show you how that works. Math.trunc. Instead of this, if you give 5.36 or something like that, what are you going to get? You're going to get just 5, the decimal number. If I give 5.98 or something like that, I'm still going to get 5. It's going to just discard all of the decimal numbers, and it's just going to all of the decimal points, and it's just going to return the number, the integer number, just that. Okay, so that's your trunc method. So that's it for this particular lesson. We looked at a lot of math functions and properties. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.